Hi guys, in this video we'll be taking a look at the Simline 720s GT3 wheel, and this one is in forged carbon. We'll have a look at connecting this to our fanatec equipment, what's involved with that, and give a review of the wheel itself. So let's get to it. If you haven't heard of Simline before, you're in good company. I hadn't up until a few months ago when I happened upon an advert from Race Anywhere that was advertising some of their rims. They're a small Polish sim racing manufacturer. They make a variety of things from dashboards, button plates, and full USB or wireless wheels. Their full wheel offerings were the ones I was most interested in particular the R8, the C7R, and the 720s wheels, eventually picking the 720s. And on that front, I recently saw that James Baldwin is also using exactly the same wheel as me. And when you compare it to the real race wheel, it's not too far off. So let's mount this baby up and then take a look at it. The box of the 720s is pretty plain, bare bones. Don't expect any marketing paraphernalia. It's well packaged with bubble wrap. You get this adapter plate, if I can get it out of the bag. A little fiddly. Get this adapter plate for mounting onto your podium hub, or in my case the SRM wheel emulator you see here. You have a USB cable, same as the Cube Controls cable, and then the wheel itself. We have a few other bits and bobs and we'll have a look through those in a sec. Just unpackage the wheel, and there we can see the back of it with the quite noisy shifters. Nice array of buttons, and 4 rotaries in the center. So the other things that we have in this bag, we have a 3D printed adapter if we need a bit more distance. We have some mounting screws of various lengths. We will need all of those. And we have a Simline sticker. Let's get this mounted up on our wheel emulator. We use the 3 short square-headed bolts first, and they connect the adapter plate to our wheel emulator or podium hub. Screw that down nice and tight. We don't want that coming loose. And then we can mount the wheel to the adapter. You can see here, got to just rotate the hub, set it down, and then just get the screws located at the front. Now we're using the shorter screws here. We're not using the extended adapter that's provided. And then we can just screw it down nice and tight. Once we've done that, we can feed on the USB cable. And we're ready to race. You can optionally start adding the stickers on here. Having a closer look at the wheel, we can see those 12 momentary buttons, 6 each side. We have some quite soft rotaries. You can feel when they engage, but they're a lot softer than, say, the fanatec ones you might be used to. The shifters here are very audible. That's not necessarily a problem unless you've got children sleeping at night. And then we've got the USB cable that we just installed at the end of the previous section. It's essentially the same as the Cube Controls cable, and the recommendation is to then wrap that around the wheel. You can see the shifters themselves are also made of forged carbon here. It's a nice touch. So initially I had to do a little bit of faffing about to bind the buttons, which is usual when you have a new wheel. However, I also encountered an issue which is more specific to USB wheels in that I was trying to run this through a USB hub and it was dropping out about every hour or so. So I managed to resolve that by plugging it directly into the computer. It meant that I had to have a longer extension cable, which I managed to find, thankfully. So I've got a USB-free extension that the wheel plugs into, and all is great. You can see here when I'm racing, I've got 2 winds on the USB cable. I found that was just a little bit too tight. It's starting to pull on the plug, so I've got a single wind on it now, which seems to be sufficient to keep it roughly in place. It doesn't interfere with the shifters at all. Moving to the wheel itself, the wheel is very solid. I don't get really any movement from the wheel. Most of the movement I feel is from the usual fanatec mount problems, but that's really such a small amount that I don't really notice it anyway. The shifters are a little noisy, but they have a very positive feel. They're very good shifters, and the rotaries, whilst being softer than I'm used to, still positive enough for you to be able to tell when you are moving between the various points within that rotary. So these are actually 16-point rotaries, which is quite nice. Nice to have that extra little bit available to you. Moving from the formula rim to this was a very positive experience immediately. I had the advanced paddle module on the formula rim, and of course I've tried the McLaren rim as well. And the Fanatec McLaren rim, whilst slightly better for GT3 racing, doesn't really come close to this in terms of quality. Of course we're talking about a much more expensive rim here, so it's not unexpected, but this is much stiffer. You don't feel any movement from the wheel other than the feedback you're getting. The button presses are a little less deep than what you expect from a Fanatec wheel, but you have a nice audible click from them, and they're quite easy to locate in VR once you get used to it. Having a USB cable is a little annoying, I can't lie, but it doesn't detract from this wheel much at all, and there is a wireless option available to you. They're overall very impressed with how this drives. Sadly, it hasn't improved my lap times massively, but it certainly helps with my consistency. And I think that's just moving from the 270mm of the Fanatec Formula Rim to the 300mm of the 720s. The extra space from the grips is quite pleasant if you've got bigger hands. It allows you to move around a little bit. So we come to the final thoughts section of this video for the Simline 720s GT3 wheel. Photos don't do this beautiful wheel justice. The forged carbon effect looks stunning, and it's a really nice touch that it's also on the shifters. The 12 buttons on the front plus the 4 rotaries should give you more than enough in the way of buttons to map for your various cars that you're driving. The shifters, whilst being a little noisy, are very positive. That really helps you to know when you are successfully shifting up. When coupled to the SRM wheel emulator, it doesn't miss a beat. And as long as you don't plug it into a USB hub, you shouldn't have any problems with the Bodner controller that's embedded in this. My only slight gripe is that the stitching that is used around the grips is a little harsh, and if you are not wearing gloves, that might cause some irritation, some friction. I generally wear gloves, so it's not really a concern for me, but it's worth noting. Would I recommend this wheel, considering that you have to also buy the wheel emulator when you're going the Fanatec route? Even then, I think it still offers pretty good value for money. It's not a budget rim, and so it's not for everyone. But if you're on the market for a mid to upper range wheel, then this or any of the other Simline options available, I think you can't go wrong with. I purchased this particular unit from Race Anywhere, and I'll provide the link for that in the video description, so you can grab yourself one of their wheels if you wish. So I hope you've enjoyed this video looking at the Simline 720s and some of the Simline range. If you have, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to see more of this kind of thing. Don't forget to leave some comments if you want to talk about certain features that we've covered here. Until next time, guys, bye-bye for now.